Human beings have learned to measure time with extraordinary precision, yet the planet itself remains slightly irregular. Earth does not rotate at exactly the same speed every day. Winds, ocean currents, and movements deep inside the planet create tiny variations. Seasonal changes can also shift the distribution of mass. Snow gathers, ice melts, and water moves between land and sea. These changes are far too small to notice in daily life. Still, the most accurate clocks can reveal them. For many centuries, the second was connected to Earth's rotation. A day was divided into hours, minutes, and seconds. Modern science needed a more stable definition. Earth was simply not regular enough for increasingly precise measurements. Today, the second is defined using the behavior of cesium atoms. Atomic transitions provide a rhythm that can be reproduced in laboratories around the world. This atomic time remains steady, while astronomical time follows the slightly uneven rotation of Earth. The two systems can slowly drift apart. For this reason, an extra second has sometimes been added to official clocks. It is known as a leap second. A leap second does not occur every year. It is introduced only when the difference between atomic time and Earth's rotation becomes large enough. On such an occasion, 1 minute may briefly contain 61 seconds. Most people pass through it without noticing. Computers and communication systems must handle the adjustment carefully. A single unusual second can create difficulties for systems that expect every minute to be identical. Some services spread the extra second gradually across several hours. This avoids a sudden jump in the clock. Even 1 second can be managed in different ways. Timekeeping is therefore both physical and social. Atoms provide the rhythm, while people decide how that rhythm should match the turning Earth. The numbers on a clock appear certain. Behind them is a quiet agreement between nature, technology, and human choice. Calendars require similar agreements. The solar year does not contain a whole number of days. The lunar month does not fit evenly inside the solar year. Any calendar must make compromises. It must decide how to distribute fractions across months and years. A leap day is one such compromise. It keeps familiar dates close to the same seasons. The extra day may feel like a gift, but it is really a correction. The calendar is catching up with Earth's orbit. People born on a leap day still age continuously. Their birthdays are simply marked by a date that appears less often. Nature does not wait for the calendar to display February 29th. Cells, seasons, and memories continue without interruption. The calendar is a map of time, not time itself. Maps simplify landscapes. Calendars simplify celestial motion. They are useful because everyone agrees to follow the same structure. Meetings, journeys, and celebrations become easier to coordinate. Yet different calendars can describe the same sunset with different dates. The event remains unchanged. The same moment may belong to one day in one time zone and another day elsewhere. At midnight, the date changes instantly on a clock. Outside, darkness does not transform in a sudden line. The night before and the morning after are part of one continuous motion. Human boundaries are sharp because they help organize life. Natural transitions are usually softer. Dawn begins gradually. Seasons overlap. Childhood becomes adulthood without a single visible instant. A forest becomes old one season at a time. Many important changes have no precise boundary. Biologists sometimes face this when defining life stages. Development is continuous, even when useful labels divided into periods. An insect may pass through clearly different forms. A caterpillar, chrysalis, and butterfly appear almost like separate lives. Inside the chrysalis, however, transformation unfolds through a sequence of chemical and cellular events. It is not an empty pause. Some tissues are reorganized, while other structures survive and change. The adult form develops through carefully timed biological instructions. The duration depends on species and temperature. Warm conditions often speed many insect processes. Cold slows chemical reactions and metabolism. For some creatures, low temperatures create a temporary pause in development. Seeds can also wait. A seed may remain dormant until water, temperature, and light provide suitable conditions. Its living tissues continue at a very low level of activity. Some seeds survive for years. A few have germinated after extraordinarily long periods under favorable preservation. Dormancy allows life to move through difficult seasons without active growth. The seed does not know how many winters have passed. It responds when the surrounding conditions become suitable again. Spores can endure in a similar way. Fungi, bacteria, and plants use resistant forms to survive unfavorable environments. Time passes around them while their activity remains greatly reduced. When conditions improve, growth can begin again. This gives life many different relationships with waiting. Some organisms live for only a few days as adults. Others survive for centuries. Mayflies are famous for brief adult lives, though their earlier aquatic stages may last much longer. Their visible flight is only one part of the life cycle. Most of their existence may have unfolded beneath the water. Certain small desert plants complete growth and reproduction quickly after rain. They remain hidden as seeds through long dry periods. When moisture arrives, the landscape can bloom within days. The brief flowers are not evidence of a brief history. They are the visible moment of a much longer pattern. At the other extreme, some trees can live for thousands of years. Bristlecone pines grow in cold, dry mountain environments. Their slow growth and durable wood help them survive. A living tree may contain branches of very different ages. Some parts die while other parts continue growing. The organism persists without remaining unchanged. Clonal plants can live even longer in another sense. New stems grow from a shared root system, while older stems disappear. A grove may look like many separate trees. Genetically, it can be one connected organism. Its visible parts may be young, while the larger living system is ancient. This makes the question of age less simple. Should age belong to the oldest stem, the shared roots, or the genetic individual? Different definitions produce different answers. Fungi create similar puzzles. A large underground fungal network can spread through soil across a wide area. Mushrooms appear only as temporary reproductive structures. The main organism remains hidden beneath the surface. It may survive for centuries or longer. A mushroom can emerge and disappear within days while belonging to something immensely older. The visible world often shows only a brief stage of a longer process. Leaves appear in spring and fall in autumn. The tree continues beneath the changing canopy. Waves form and vanish while the ocean remains. Clouds gather and dissolve while water continues cycling through the atmosphere. A human thought is also temporary. It forms, changes, and passes while the mind continues. You do not need to keep each thought alive. Letting it disappear is part of its natural rhythm. Some animals show very little biological decline for long periods. Certain turtles, fish, and simple aquatic organisms can maintain function unusually well as they age. Their risk of death may not rise in the same pattern seen in humans. This does not make them immortal. Disease, injury, predators, and environmental changes still affect them. A few organisms can return to an earlier stage of their life cycle. One small jellyfish species can sometimes transform mature tissues back toward a younger form. This has led to the popular description of biological immortality. The phrase is more dramatic than the reality. Individual jellyfish can still die, and the transformation does not guarantee endless survival. Still, it reveals that aging is not identical across all life. Some cells can divide many times. Others rarely divide after development. Some tissues repair quickly, others recover slowly. Life has evolved many ways of moving through time. Hibernating animals may slow their heart rate and breathing dramatically. Their body temperature can fall close to the surrounding environment. During this period, months of outside time are experienced through a greatly reduced metabolism. The animal does not disappear from time. Its chemistry simply moves more slowly. Medical researchers study these adaptations because they may offer clues about protecting organs and reducing damage. Understanding how animals survive, low oxygen or low temperature could help human medicine. Even in deep hibernation, the body remains carefully regulated. Periods of warming may interrupt the long torpor. The system is quieter, but not inactive. Space travel creates another unusual relationship with biological time. Astronauts in orbit see many sunrises and sunsets during a single Earth day. A spacecraft circles the planet roughly every hour and a half. The visual cycle of light and darkness is too fast to guide ordinary sleep. Artificial schedules help maintain a 24-hour rhythm. Clocks, meals, and carefully controlled lighting create a familiar day inside an unfamiliar environment. Astronauts also experience a tiny relativistic difference in time. Their high speed makes their clocks run slightly slower than clocks on Earth. Gravity produces an effect in the opposite direction because orbiting astronauts are farther from Earth's center. The final difference depends on the balance between speed and gravity. For low Earth orbit, the effect is very small. After months in space, an astronaut may have aged a fraction of a second less than someone on the ground. This is real-time travel into the future, though only by an almost unnoticeable amount. Much larger differences would require speeds close to the speed of light. A traveler moving extremely fast could experience a few years, while far more time passed on Earth. This idea is called time dilation. It follows directly from special relativity. The traveler would not feel their own time slowing. Their thoughts, breathing, and clocks would remain normal from their perspective. The difference would become clear only when comparing clocks after the journey. Traveling backward in time is far more uncertain. Some mathematical solutions in relativity contain paths that return toward earlier events. Whether such paths could exist physically remains unknown. They may require conditions or forms of matter that nature does not provide. They also create familiar paradoxes. Changing the past could seem to remove the cause of the journey itself. Physicists have proposed different ways such contradictions might be avoided. None has established backward time travel as a practical possibility. For now, the past remains accessible through records, memories, and light, rather than through travel. This may be gentler than it first seems. You do not need to return to any earlier moment. It has already become part of the path that brought you here. The future does not need to be visited ahead of time. It will arrive gradually through ordinary seconds. Tonight, the only journey is the quiet movement from wakefulness toward sleep. There may not be a clear border between them. One moment, you are listening to words. Later, the words may mix with images. A thought may drift away before it reaches an ending. Another may appear without a beginning. This is not a mistake. It is the mind releasing its hold on measured time. The clocks of the world can remain accurate without your attention. Atomic signals can continue. Calendars can hold tomorrow's date. Seeds can wait beneath the soil. Ancient trees can stand beneath the stars. Every living thing can follow its own rhythm. And you can let this part of the night pass without counting it. Tonight, we will wander gently through the quiet science of time. There is nothing you need to remember, and nowhere you need to arrive. You can simply rest while each idea passes slowly through the room. Perhaps time has felt busy today, divided into appointments, messages, and small responsibilities. But for the next little while, time does not need to be measured so carefully. Let the minutes soften around you. If your eyes feel heavy, you can allow them to close. Time is one of the most familiar parts of life, yet it remains surprisingly difficult to describe. We feel it moving, organize our days around it, and notice its effects everywhere. Still, we cannot touch time or place it inside a container. We understand it mostly by watching things change. A shadow crosses a floor. A candle becomes shorter. A cloud drifts beyond a window. These changes give us a sense that one moment has become another. Long before mechanical clocks existed, people watched the sky to understand the passing hours. The movement of the sun created predictable patterns of light and darkness. Simple sundials used shadows to divide daylight into smaller portions. Their markings did not always represent equal modern hours, because daylight changes with the seasons. In summer, a daylight hour could be longer than a winter daylight hour. Time was shaped by the local sky rather than by an identical clock. The earliest clocks were not always designed to show exact minutes. Many simply helped communities know when to work, gather, pray, or rest. Water clocks measured time through the steady movement of water between containers. Similar devices appeared in several ancient civilizations. A small opening allowed water to drip at a controlled rate. The changing water level acted like a quiet, moving hand. Sand timers used a similar idea, although grains of sand replaced water. Gravity pulled the grains through a narrow opening at a fairly regular pace. An hourglass does not truly contain an hour unless it was carefully designed for that duration. Some measured only a few minutes, while others could measure much longer periods. Mechanical clocks began changing daily life during the later Middle Ages. Large clocks were installed in towers where entire towns could hear their bells. These early machines were not as accurate as modern clocks. They might lose or gain many minutes during a single day. Even so, they created a shared public rhythm. People no longer depended entirely on sunlight or personal observation. The invention of the pendulum clock greatly improved timekeeping. A swinging pendulum repeats its motion with remarkable regularity. The physicist Christian Huygens designed a practical pendulum clock in the 17th century. Its accuracy was far better than most earlier mechanical clocks. A pendulum swings because gravity pulls it toward its resting position. Its motion becomes a gentle exchange between movement and stored energy. You may imagine that steady swing continuing in a dark, peaceful room, back and forth without urgency. There is no need to hold on to every detail. You can let the facts drift past you. Modern clocks often use quartz crystals instead of pendulums. When electricity passes through quartz, the crystal vibrates at a stable frequency. Electronic circuits count those vibrations. The clock then translates them into seconds, minutes, and hours. Quartz watches became popular because they were accurate, affordable, and resistant to ordinary movement. Unlike pendulum clocks, they could travel easily on a wrist. Atomic clocks are even more precise. They measure time using the natural behavior of atoms. The official definition of a second is connected to transitions within cesium atoms. These transitions are extraordinarily regular. An atomic clock does not resemble a tiny clock filled with moving hands. It is a scientific instrument that observes a stable atomic frequency. The best atomic clocks would take an extremely long time to gain or lose even a single second. Their precision helps modern technology function quietly in the background. Satellite navigation depends on clocks that remain carefully synchronized. A tiny timing error can create a much larger error in calculated position. Signals travel at the speed of light, which is extremely fast but not instantaneous. Navigation systems measure the travel time of signals from several satellites. Your phone can then estimate where you are by comparing those arrival times. A map on a small screen depends partly on our ability to measure fractions of a second. Global communication networks also need accurate timing. Computers must agree about when information was sent, received, and recorded. Financial systems, electrical grids, scientific observatories, and internet services all depend on synchronized clocks. Much of modern life is held together by invisible agreements about time. Yet time does not pass identically everywhere. According to Einstein's theory of relativity, the rate of time depends partly on motion. A moving clock can tick slightly differently from a clock at rest. At ordinary human speeds, the difference is far too small to notice. But at very high speeds, it becomes measurable. Astronauts aboard orbiting spacecraft move rapidly around Earth. Their clocks experience tiny differences compared with clocks on the ground. Gravity also affects the passage of time. A clock closer to a massive object runs slightly slower than a clock farther away. Even clocks placed at different heights on Earth can eventually reveal this difference. A clock on a mountain experiences time a little differently from one near sea level. The effect is extremely small, but it is real. Time is not a single universal river flowing identically through every place. Satellite navigation systems must correct for both motion and gravity. Without these corrections, their positioning errors would grow. This means that Einstein's ideas are not limited to distant stars or theoretical blackboards. They quietly help people find roads, buildings, and familiar places every day. Near a black hole, gravity becomes far stronger. To a distant observer, time near the black hole would appear to move more slowly. Someone falling toward a black hole would experience their own time normally. Their heartbeat and thoughts would not suddenly feel frozen. Relativity allows different observers to disagree about how much time has passed. Neither observer needs to be mistaken. Their measurements depend on their paths through space and time. Physicists often describe the universe as space-time. In this picture, space and time are connected parts of a larger structure. An event is not described only by where it happens. It must also include when it happens. Your current moment has a location in space and a location in time. Together, they form a single point in your journey through the universe. Every object follows its own path through space-time. A planet, a beam of light, and a sleeping person each trace a different kind of path. You do not need to imagine mathematics. You can simply picture a quiet thread extending behind you through every moment you have already lived. The past feels different from the future because we remember one and anticipate the other. Our minds store traces of earlier events, but not of events that have not occurred. This gives time a personal direction. We experience moments arriving, becoming present, and then settling into memory. The laws of physics often work almost equally well forward or backward. Yet daily life has a clear direction. A cup can fall and shatter, but broken pieces do not naturally rise and rebuild the cup. Warm objects cool in a cold room, but they do not usually grow warmer without an energy source. This direction is connected to entropy, a measure related to how energy and matter can be arranged. In many natural processes, entropy tends to increase. It is one reason the past and future do not feel interchangeable. The universe carries signs of change in one broad direction. For now, you can let that direction lead only toward rest. The clock may continue somewhere nearby, but you do not need to follow every second. Time can move softly without asking anything from you. Our sense of time is not created by clocks alone. The brain also builds its own quiet estimate of duration. Sometimes a few minutes can feel surprisingly long. At other times, an entire evening seems to disappear. Attention plays an important role in this experience. When we focus closely on time, each second may feel more noticeable. Waiting in silence can make time feel slow. A familiar activity can make the same amount of time pass almost unnoticed. When the mind is deeply absorbed, people often lose track of the clock. Psychologists sometimes describe this as a flow state. During flow, attention becomes fully engaged with one activity. Thoughts about time, effort, and self-consciousness may briefly fade into the background. This can happen while painting, writing, gardening, playing music, or solving an interesting problem. The activity feels complete enough to hold the mind gently in place. Boredom often creates the opposite effect. Without enough change or engagement, the brain notices the passing moments more clearly. A quiet room may feel peaceful when you are tired, but the same room may feel slow when you are waiting for something uncertain. Emotion also changes our sense of duration. Fear can make a brief event feel stretched and unusually detailed. Calm moments often feel smoother and less divided. The mind does not inspect every second so carefully. Memory affects time in another interesting way. An experience may feel short while it is happening, yet seem long when remembered later. A vacation filled with unfamiliar places can pass quickly in the moment. Later, it may feel rich and spacious because many memories were formed. A repetitive week may feel slow while it is happening. In memory, however, it may seem compressed because fewer distinct events remain. The brain does not store every moment like a perfect recording. It keeps selected details, emotions, patterns, and meanings. This is one reason remembered time is flexible. We reconstruct the past rather than replaying it exactly. Childhood summers often seem unusually long in memory. Partly, this may be because childhood contains so many first experiences. A new place, a new friendship, or a new skill gives the brain more details to organize. Novelty makes time feel fuller when we look back. As adults, familiar routines can blend together. Similar days leave fewer clear boundaries in memory. This does not mean time truly moves faster with age. It means our experience of it changes as life becomes more familiar. There is no need to hold on to every explanation. You can let each idea pass, like a small shadow moving across a wall. The brain also contains biological clocks. These internal rhythms help organize sleep, alertness, temperature, and hormone release. The best known of these rhythms is the circadian rhythm. It follows a cycle close to 24 hours. A small region of the brain responds to light entering the eyes. This helps the body understand whether it is day or night. Wanting light can encourage wakefulness. Evening darkness helps prepare the body for sleep. The hormone melatonin usually rises in the evening. It does not force sleep, but helps signal that night has arrived. Artificial light can influence this natural timing. Bright light late at night may delay the body's sense of evening. Blue enriched light can have a particularly strong effect. Yet brightness, distance, duration, and individual sensitivity also matter. The body does not use a single clock. Many organs and tissues have rhythms of their own. The liver, heart, muscles, and digestive system all show daily patterns. These smaller clocks communicate with the brain's central timing system. Meals, activity, and temperature can help adjust these rhythms. Light remains the strongest daily signal for the central clock. When internal clocks lose alignment, the body may feel unsettled. This can happen during jet lag or night shift work. Jet lag occurs because the body still follows the time of the previous location. The new sunrise arrives before the internal system is ready. Traveling east often feels different from traveling west. The body may find it easier to delay its schedule than to move it earlier. This varies from person to person. Some internal clocks run slightly longer, while others run slightly shorter. Sleep timing also changes across life. Young children often become sleepy earlier than teenagers. During adolescence, the natural sleep schedule commonly shifts later. Many teenagers feel alert at night and sleepy early in the morning. Later in adulthood, the preferred sleep period may gradually move earlier again. These changes are influenced by biology, habits, and daily responsibilities. Even without clocks or windows, people usually maintain a daily rhythm. But it may drift slightly away from exactly 24 hours. Experiments in caves and isolated rooms have shown this clearly. Participants continued sleeping and waking in cycles, even without ordinary time signals. Their internal days were often a little longer than the solar day. Light and routine normally reset these rhythms each morning. Plants also keep time. Many flowers open and close according to daily cycles. Some leaves rise during daylight and lower at night. These movements can continue temporarily even in constant darkness. The plant is not reading the sky in the human sense. Its cells contain chemical systems that create repeating rhythms. Animals use biological timing in many ways. Birds may begin singing before sunrise, guided by light and internal cycles. Migrating animals respond to seasonal changes in day length. These signals help prepare their bodies for long journeys. Marine creatures can follow the tides as well as the day. Their rhythms may be connected to cycles of water, moonlight, and coastal pressure. Corals often release eggs and sperm during carefully timed events. Some species synchronize this activity with lunar and seasonal patterns. The result can be an immense underwater event, occurring across large areas within a narrow period. Yet beneath the surface, it may unfold with a quiet, drifting beauty. The moon has shaped human ideas about time for thousands of years. Its phases provide a visible cycle lasting about a month. A new moon gradually becomes a crescent, then a half moon, and finally, a full moon. Afterward, the illuminated shape slowly decreases. The entire cycle from one new moon to the next lasts about 29.5 days. This is called a synodic month. Many traditional calendars were built around lunar months. Others combine lunar cycles with the solar year. A purely lunar calendar shifts through the seasons. 12 lunar months are shorter than one solar year. A lunisolar calendar adds occasional extra months. This keeps seasonal festivals closer to the same part of the year. The calendar used internationally today is mainly solar. It follows Earth's journey around the sun. 1 year is approximately the time Earth takes to complete one orbit, but the number of days is not exactly 365. The extra fraction is why leap years are necessary. An additional day helps keep the calendar aligned with the seasons. Without leap days, calendar dates would slowly move away from the solar year. Over many centuries, summer dates would drift toward winter. The modern leap year system includes a small correction. Most years divisible by 4 are leap years. But century years follow an additional rule. This adjustment keeps the calendar remarkably close to Earth's actual orbit. Even so, no calendar is a perfect copy of nature. Months have unequal lengths because calendars carry layers of history. Their structure reflects ancient traditions, political reforms, and practical compromises. The names of several months come from Roman gods, leaders, and numbers. September once meant the 7th month, although it is now the 9th. October, November, and December also preserve older numerical names. The calendar changed, but the names remained. Days of the week carry history as well. In English, several names come from the sun, moon, and old Germanic deities. Different cultures divided time in different ways. The 7-day week became widespread, but it was not the only possible pattern. Ancient societies experimented with weeks of different lengths. Some used cycles linked to markets, religion, or government. Human timekeeping is always partly natural and partly invented. The sunrise is natural, but the exact meaning of 9 o'clock is an agreement. Time zones are also agreements. They divide the world into regions that share a standard clock. Before time zones, towns often kept their own local solar time. Noon arrived when the sun was highest in that particular place. This worked well when travel was slow. Nearby towns could have slightly different clocks without causing much confusion. Railways and telegraphs changed that. Faster travel required schedules that people could understand across long distances. Standard time zones became a practical solution. They allowed stations, cities, and countries to coordinate more easily. The boundaries of time zones are not perfectly straight. They bend around countries, islands, and political borders. Some regions use offsets that include half an hour or even 45 minutes. Local time is shaped by geography and human choice together. At the international dateline, the calendar changes by 1 day. Crossing it can make the date move forward or backward. The line does not mark a physical boundary in the ocean. It is simply where the world agrees to change the calendar. A traveler can leave one place on Monday and arrive somewhere else on Tuesday. Traveling in the opposite direction can seem to return part of the day. Nothing magical happens to the traveler's body. Only the local labels for time have changed. You can let those labels become distant now. Monday, Tuesday, morning, evening, and all the small divisions of the day can soften for a while. The body does not need to count every minute to rest. It already knows many quiet rhythms on its own. Your breathing continues in gentle cycles. Your heartbeat keeps time without a clock face. Outside, the earth is turning slowly beneath the night. And for now, there is nowhere else you need to be. Beyond clocks and calendars, nature keeps time in much slower ways. A tree records years within its wood. In many species, each growing season leaves a visible ring. Wide rings may form during favorable years with enough water and warmth. Narrow rings can reveal colder seasons, drought, or other stress. By comparing patterns from living trees and ancient timber, scientists can build long timelines. Some of these records stretch back thousands of years. Tree rings can also preserve traces of wildfires, volcanic eruptions, and sudden climate changes. A quiet forest can hold a detailed history inside its trunks. Coral skeletons form layers as they grow. These layers can preserve information about past ocean temperatures and water conditions. Some corals add daily and annual bands. Their structure becomes a natural calendar beneath the sea. Shells can record time in a similar way. Growth lines may reveal seasons, changes in fruit supply, and shifts in the surrounding water. Even teeth can contain signs of time. Layers in tooth enamel and dentin develop according to biological rhythms. Scientists sometimes study these patterns to learn about growth, diet, and childhood development. A small tooth can quietly preserve years of personal history. Ice also keeps time. In polar regions, snow falls and gradually becomes compressed into ice. New layers form above older ones. Deep ice cores contain thousands of these layers. Some preserve snowfall from hundreds of thousands of years ago, tiny bubbles trapped inside the ice hold. Samples of ancient air. They allow scientists to study past levels of carbon dioxide and other gases. Dust, ash, and sea salt can also become sealed within the layers. Each particle offers a small clue about distant environments. A volcanic eruption may leave a thin band of ash across a wide region. When that band appears in different records, it can help connect their timelines. Lake beds preserve time through layers of sediment. Fine material settles slowly onto the bottom year after year. In some lakes, light and dark layers form with the seasons. These paired layers can sometimes be counted like tree rings. Ocean floors collect sediment over much longer periods. The deeper layers are usually older than those above them. Fossils appear within these layers in a recognizable order. This helps geologists compare rocks from different places. The principle is simple and gentle. In an undisturbed sequence, older material lies beneath younger material, yet Earth is always moving. Rock layers can fold, tilt, break, or rise into mountains. Erosion can remove chapters of geological history. Rivers, wind, and ice may carry entire layers away. The remaining landscape is not a complete book. It is more like a collection of pages preserved in different places. Geologists learn to read those pages through minerals, fossils, chemistry, and structure. Their work turns stone into a record of deep time. Deep time is far larger than ordinary human experience. Earth formed about 4.5 billion years ago. A billion years is difficult to picture. It is 1,000 groups of 1 million years. If Earth's history were compressed into a single day, humans would appear only near the final moments. Most of the day would pass without cities, animals, or even complex plants. The earliest life was microscopic. For immense stretches of time, the planet was inhabited only by simple organisms. Complex animals arrived much later. Dinosaurs appeared after Earth had already existed for billions of years. They lived across an enormous span of time. The distance between some dinosaur species was longer than the distance between those species and us. This is easy to forget because museums place many extinct animals in nearby rooms. In reality, they belong to very different worlds. There is no need to measure those worlds precisely tonight. You can let them remain distant and quiet. Radiometric dating helps scientists estimate the ages of rocks. It relies on atoms that change naturally over time. Some atoms are unstable and gradually transform into other forms. The rate of this change is described by half-life. A half-life is the time required for half of a radioactive material to decay. Different elements have very different half-lives. Some change quickly enough to measure recent events. Others change slowly enough to date ancient rocks. Carbon dating is useful for once. Living material. It can help estimate the age of wood, cloth, seeds, and bone. It is not suitable for extremely old fossils or the age of Earth. For those, scientists use elements with much longer half-lives. Uranium can gradually change into lead. This process is useful for dating some of the oldest minerals on the planet. The atoms do not know they are acting as clocks. They simply follow the rules of physics. Scientists compare the remaining original material with the products created by decay. From that ratio, they estimate how much time has passed. The oldest known minerals on Earth are tiny zircon crystals. Some formed more than 4 billion years ago. These crystals survived even as their original rocks were broken apart. They later became part of younger sediments. A grain smaller than a speck of dust can carry evidence from Earth's earliest history. Time can hide inside very small things. Meteorites provide another record. Many formed during the early history of the solar system. By dating meteorites, scientists estimate when the sun and planets began to form. These ancient objects help reveal a time before Earth was fully assembled. Light also carries time. When you look at the moon, you see it as it was a little more than 1 second ago. Its light needs time to cross the space between the moon and Earth. Sunlight takes a little over 8 minutes to reach us. The sun you see is always a slightly earlier sun. Light from distant stars may travel for years, centuries, or much longer. Looking into space is also looking into the past. Some stars visible tonight may have changed since their light began traveling. Their older light continues moving quietly through space. A telescope does not only make distant things appear larger, it allows us to receive older and fainter light. Powerful telescopes can observe galaxies as they appeared billions of years ago. Their images reveal a younger universe. The farther astronomers look, the further back in time they see. Distance becomes a kind of history. There is a limit to how far back ordinary light can take us. The early universe was once too hot and dense for light to travel freely. Later, as the universe cooled, light began moving through space more easily. A faint glow from that era still surrounds us. This ancient light is called the cosmic microwave background. It began its journey long before stars and planets existed. Its temperature is now only a few degrees above absolute zero. The universe has stretched and cooled its light over billions of years. Expansion also changes the color of distant light. As space stretches, light waves become longer and shift toward the red. This red shift helps astronomers study how the universe has changed. It also provides evidence that distant galaxies are generally moving away from us. The universe may be about 13.8 billion years old. This estimate comes from several kinds of astronomical evidence. Yet asking what happened before the universe began may not have a simple answer. Time itself may be part of the universe rather than something outside it. In some models, the beginning of the universe is also the beginning of meaningful physical time. The word before may lose its ordinary sense. It is similar to asking what lies north of the North Pole. The question uses a familiar direction where that direction may no longer apply. Physicists continue exploring these ideas. No complete explanation has answered every question, and that uncertainty can remain peaceful. Not every mystery needs to be solved before sleep. Some questions can stay open beneath the stars. You can let the immense ages of Earth and space drift far into the background. Your own moment is much smaller, warmer, and closer. The room around you does not need billions of years. It only needs this slow breath, and then the next. Sleep has its own relationship with time. As you become drowsy, the mind may stop tracking minutes so carefully. The boundaries between one moment and the next begin to soften. During light sleep, you may still notice sounds from the room. A distant car, a quiet floorboard, or the soft movement of air may enter a dream. As sleep deepens, awareness of the outside world becomes weaker. The brain continues working, but it organizes experience in a different way. Sleep usually moves through repeating cycles. Each cycle contains lighter sleep, deeper sleep, and periods of rapid eye movement. These stages do not follow one another like perfectly equal blocks. Their length and balance change gradually through the night. Deep sleep is more common during the earlier part of the night. Longer periods of rapid eye movement often appear closer to morning. Because of this, dreams may feel more frequent near the time you wake. They may also be easier to remember. A dream can seem to contain a long journey. Yet the actual period of dreaming may have lasted only a short while. Dream time is difficult to measure because dreams do not always follow ordinary logic. A scene can change without travel, and years can seem to pass between two thoughts. Studies suggest that many dream events unfold at a pace not entirely different from waking life. Still, memory can rearrange the experience afterward. When you wake, the brain tries to turn fragments into a story. This may make a short dream feel larger and more complete. Sometimes you wake believing that hours have passed, only to discover that it has been a few minutes. At other times, an entire night seems to vanish instantly. From the inside, sleep can feel almost timeless. There may be no clear awareness of the hours moving through darkness. The clock continues, but the sleeping mind does not need to watch it. You can allow the same feeling to begin now. There is no need to know exactly how long each thought remains. The body also changes its sense of time during illness, stress, and fatigue. An uncomfortable night can seem much longer than a restful one. Pain draws attention toward the present moment. Each minute may become more noticeable because the mind is waiting for relief. Pleasant experiences often feel shorter while they are happening. Attention moves toward the experience rather than toward the clock. This does not mean enjoyable time is lost. It may return later through memory, sometimes feeling fuller than it did in the moment. Music can shape the sense of duration as well. Rhythm creates repeated expectations inside the brain. A slow piece may make time feel spacious. A fast rhythm can make the same number of minutes feel more active. Musicians learn to feel very small differences in timing. A note played slightly early or late can change the emotional quality of a phrase. Yet perfect mechanical timing is not always the most expressive. Gentle variations can make music feel human. Speech also has rhythm. Pauses help separate ideas and allow meaning to settle. A bedtime voice usually moves more slowly than ordinary conversation. The quieter pace gives the nervous system fewer sudden changes to follow. Breathing has its own timing too. A calm breath rises, turns, and falls in a repeating pattern. You do not need to control it precisely. The body has been keeping this rhythm since before you knew what a second was. Heartbeat intervals are not completely identical. A healthy heart naturally varies its timing from one beat to the next. This small variation reflects the body's constant adjustment. Breathing, movement, motion, and rest all influence the rhythm. Life is filled with clocks that do not have faces. Cells divide, hormones rise, wounds heal, and muscles recover. Some processes happen within milliseconds. Others require days, months, or years. A nerve signal can travel quickly through the body. Bone changes more slowly, continuously rebuilding itself over time. Skin cells are replaced in gradual cycles. Hair goes through periods of activity and rest. The body is never completely still, even during deep sleep. It is always repairing, balancing, and preparing for the next waking day. Aging is also a process of time, though it does not happen at one single speed. Different tissues change in different ways. Two people of the same age may show very different patterns of strength, memory, sleep, and health. Chronological age counts years since birth. Biological age is a broader idea describing how the body is functioning. There is no single instrument that measures biological age perfectly. It is estimated through many different signs and systems. At the cellular level, chromosomes contain protective regions called telomeres. These regions often become shorter as cells divide. Telomeres are sometimes compared with the ends of shoelaces, which help protect the material from damage. The comparison is simple, but useful. They are not a complete clock for human aging. Lifestyle, genetics, illness, and cell type all affect their behavior. Some cells produce an enzyme that can maintain telomeres. This is useful in certain tissues, though uncontrolled cell growth creates other risks. Aging is not caused by one mechanism. It involves many overlapping changes in DNA, proteins, metabolism, immunity, and cell communication. The process is complex, but it does not need to feel frightening. Change is part of every living system. A forest ages while continuing to grow. Old trees provide shelter, shade, and rich ecosystems for other organisms. A coastline grows older, while waves continue shaping it. Mountains rise, weather, and slowly return their minerals to the land. Nothing in nature remains unchanged. Yet change often happens so gradually that a single day appears peaceful. Even the continents move. The surface of Earth is divided into large plates that shift by small amounts each year. Their movement is often compared with the growth of fingernails. Over millions of years, these tiny motions reshape oceans and mountains. Continents that seem permanent are part of a slow geological journey. The Atlantic Ocean is still widening in many places. New seafloor forms where material rises from beneath Earth's crust. Elsewhere, oceanic crust sinks back into the planet. The surface is renewed through a cycle far slower than human history. Mountains also carry the marks of time. Some were formed when ancient continents collided. Rock that once rested beneath an ocean can later be lifted high above sea level. Fossils of marine creatures have been found in mountain ranges. A shell preserved in stone may now rest far above the clouds. It is a quiet reminder that landscapes have long memories. Rivers measure time through erosion. Each current carries tiny pieces of land downstream. A canyon can begin as a shallow channel. Over immense periods, flowing water deepens and widens the path. The river does not hurry, yet its work accumulates. Small movements become large changes when enough time passes. Caves form in a similar way. Water moves through cracks and slowly dissolves certain kinds of rock. Inside, mineral-rich drops may create stalactites and stalagmites. Some grow only a tiny amount during a human lifetime. Their layers can preserve information about ancient rainfall. A dark cave can contain a delicate climate record. Deserts also change, even when they appear still. Dunes move as wind carries grains from one slope to another. The shape of a dune may change in days. The desert itself may expand, shrink, or shift over much longer periods. Sand grains can be older than the desert that holds them. Some have traveled through rivers, mountains, beaches, and oceans. A single grain may have belonged to several landscapes. Time does not only pass over matter, it carries matter from one form to another. Earth's rotation provides the basic rhythm of day and night. Yet the planet does not spin with perfect mechanical regularity. The movement of oceans, atmosphere, and Earth's interior can create tiny changes. Even large earthquakes can slightly alter the distribution of mass. Over very long periods, Earth's rotation has gradually slowed. The gravitational influence of the moon plays an important role in this change. Ancient days were shorter than modern days. Far in Earth's past, the planet completed more rotations during one orbit around the Sun. Fossil corals can preserve clues about this. Their growth patterns sometimes reveal daily and yearly cycles from ancient seas. The moon is also slowly moving farther from Earth. This happens as energy is exchanged through tides. The change is only a few centimeters each year. It is far too small to notice by looking into the night sky. Still, over millions of years, small differences become meaningful. The length of the day and the distance to the moon continue to evolve together. Atomic clocks measure seconds with extraordinary stability, while Earth follows a more irregular natural rhythm. Human timekeeping must sometimes reconcile these two systems. One is based on atoms, and the other on a rotating planet. This contrast is gentle rather than troublesome. Nature does not promise to move like a machine. The planet turns, the moon drifts, and the oceans rise and fall. Their timing is steady enough for life, but never completely rigid. Perhaps your own sense of time can be allowed the same softness. You do not need to sleep at an exact second. You do not need to notice the moment waking becomes dreaming. The change can happen gradually, without effort. Thoughts may become less organized. Images may appear and disappear without explanation. The room can remain where it is. The night can continue moving quietly around you, and while time keeps unfolding, you can stop measuring it for a while. Some forms of time are created by repetition. A season returns, a tide rises again, and a familiar constellation reappears above the horizon. Repeating patterns help living things predict what may come next. Before written calendars, people watched these patterns closely. The sky, plants, animals, and weather all provided signs of changing seasons. The first appearance of certain stars could announce the return of rain. The flowering of particular plants could suggest that warmer days were approaching. These observations were not always exact by modern standards, yet they connected human life closely with the rhythms of the landscape. Agriculture made seasonal timing especially important. Seeds planted too early might meet frost, while seeds planted too late could miss valuable warmth. Communities learned to recognize reliable signals. They remembered when rivers rose, when birds returned, and when daylight began growing longer. Over generations, these memories became traditions. Festivals, planting seasons, and journeys were often linked to recurring natural events. The year itself is a repeating path. Earth travels around the sun while its tilted axis points in nearly the same direction. This tilt creates the seasons. It changes how directly sunlight reaches different parts of the planet. Summer does not occur because Earth is much closer to the Sun. It occurs when one hemisphere is tilted more towards sunlight. At the same time, the opposite hemisphere experiences winter. The two halves of Earth move through opposite seasons together. Near the equator, seasonal temperature changes may be gentle. Rainfall patterns can be more important than changes in warmth. Closer to the poles, daylight changes dramatically. Summer days may become extremely long, while winter brings extended darkness. Inside the Arctic and Antarctic circles, the sun can remain above the horizon for an entire day. During another part of the year, it may not rise at all. Plants and animals living there respond to these unusual cycles. Growth, migration, feeding, and reproduction must follow a brief seasonal window. Some animals enter hibernation or a similar state during colder months. Their metabolism slows, and their use of energy becomes more efficient. Hibernation is not simply a long, ordinary sleep. Body temperature, breathing, and heart rate may change in remarkable ways. Other species migrate rather than remain in place. They travel toward regions where food and warmth are more available. Migration requires precise timing. Leaving too early or too late can affect the entire journey. Birds use several signals, including daylight, temperature, food, and internal rhythms. Their bodies begin preparing before the journey begins. Fat stores increase. Muscles change, and restlessness may appear even in birds kept far from the wild. This seasonal restlessness shows that time can be written into behavior. The body prepares for a destination it cannot yet see. There is no need to follow every journey tonight. You can let these distant wings move quietly through the darkness. Many insects also keep careful seasonal time. Some spend months hidden in soil, wood, or water before emerging. Certain cicadas remain underground for many years. Then enormous numbers appear during the same season. Their timing may help protect them from predators. When millions emerge together, no predator can eat more than a small portion. The individual insect does not count years with conscious thought. Its development follows biological signals and environmental conditions. Bamboo can also follow astonishingly long cycles. Some species flower together after decades of ordinary growth. After flowering, large areas may produce seeds at nearly the same time. The event can transform entire ecosystems. Scientists continue studying how such long biological schedules are controlled. The answer may involve genetics, growth, and accumulated internal signals. Nature contains short clocks and long clocks together. Some operate in fractions of a second, while others unfold across generations. Cells must often know when to divide. Embryos must coordinate growth so that tissues form in the correct order. During early development, chemical signals appear in carefully timed sequences. A small delay can change how structures are formed. The body grows through waves of activity rather than through one continuous command. Genes switch on and off in coordinated patterns. Some developing animals even form repeated structures through molecular rhythms. These internal pulses help organize the body into segments. The process is sometimes described as a segmentation clock. It shows that biological form can emerge from repeated timing signals. A pattern in time becomes a pattern in space. Repeated chemical activity eventually becomes part of the physical body. Your own body was shaped by such quiet timing long before birth. Countless events happen in the correct sequence without conscious direction. Healing also depends on timing. After an injury, different cells arrive and act during different stages. First, the body limits bleeding and begins protecting the area. Later, immune cells remove damaged material. New tissue forms gradually. Over time, the repaired area may become stronger and more organized. Too much inflammation for too long can interfere with healing. Too little can leave the body unable to respond properly. The body must not only perform the right action, it must perform it at a useful moment. Medicine often considers timing for this reason. Some treatments work differently depending on when they are given. Blood pressure, hormone levels, and body temperature change throughout the day. The body's response to medication may change with them. This field is sometimes called chronomedicine. It explores how biological rhythms affect illness and treatment. Sleep itself influences healing and immunity. During rest, many repair processes continue without requiring your attention. The body does not become inactive at night. It changes priorities. Some hormones follow daily patterns, rising during sleep or near waking. These rhythms help coordinate growth, energy use, and alertness. Cortisol usually rises before morning. It helps prepare the body to become active again. Its daily pattern is not simply a response to stress. In healthy rhythms, it also supports the transition into wakefulness. Body temperature usually falls during the night. This decrease is connected with the natural preparation for sleep. Later, temperature begins rising again before waking. The body quietly anticipates morning before the eyes open. Even hunger can follow learned timing. The digestive system may prepare when meals usually occur. If lunch happens at the same time each day, hunger may appear shortly beforehand. The body learns the rhythm of repeated behavior. This timing can shift when routines change. After several days, a new schedule may begin feeling more natural. The brain is constantly making predictions about what comes next. Time allows those predictions to be organized. A sound with a steady beat creates expectation. After several repetitions, the brain prepares for the next beat before it arrives. When the beat comes late, the delay is immediately noticeable. When it comes early, the surprise may feel just as clear. This ability helps with speech. We predict when another person may pause, continue, or finish a sentence. Conversation depends on very small timing adjustments. People take turns without measuring the gaps consciously. Laughter also spreads through timing. One person's rhythm can influence the breathing and expressions of others. Groups walking together may gradually synchronize their steps. Musicians playing together align movements within tiny fractions of time. Synchronization appears throughout nature. Fireflies in some regions flash together in repeating patterns. At first, each insect may glow at a slightly different moment. Gradually, their flashes can become coordinated. The result is not controlled by a single leader. Each insect responds to the timing of nearby flashes. Similar coordination appears in groups of cells. Heart cells grown close together can begin beating in a shared rhythm. Neurons also produce synchronized activity. During sleep, large groups of brain cells may enter repeating slow waves. These waves are especially noticeable during deep sleep. They reflect broad changes between periods of activity and quiet. Another brief pattern, called the sleep spindle, appears during certain stages. These short bursts may be involved in protecting sleep and organizing memory. The sleeping brain is not silent. It carries out its own careful choreography. Memories are strengthened, weakened, and connected. The exact process remains an active area of research. Some information becomes easier to recall after sleep. The brain may also separate useful patterns from unimportant details. This is one reason a problem can feel clearer in the morning. Rest gives the mind time to reorganize what it already knows. There is no need to solve anything now. Your mind can do its quiet work without conscious supervision. Human memory also gives us a sense of personal continuity. You feel connected to the person who woke this morning, even though many details have already faded. The self is not stored in one single memory. It emerges from many overlapping stories. Habits, sensations, and relationships. Time links these parts together. It allows the mind to imagine a past self and a future self. Thinking about the future requires a form of mental travel. The brain combines memory with prediction to create possible events. You may picture tomorrow's room, next week's conversation, or a place you hope to visit. None of these moments has happened yet. The imagined future is built partly from pieces of the past. Familiar faces, locations, and feelings are rearranged into new possibilities. This ability helps people plan. It also allows creativity, hope, and preparation. Yet future thinking can sometimes become restless. The mind may try to rehearse too many possibilities at once. Tonight, it does not need to do that. Tomorrow can remain unwritten for a few hours. Plans will still be available when morning returns. For now, the future can stay quiet. It does not need to arrive before its time. The past can also soften. It has already settled into its place behind you. A memory may return, but you do not need to examine it. You can let it pass like a reflection on dark water. The present moment is often described as a single point. In experience, it may be more like a small window. The brain gathers information across brief intervals. It combines sounds, sights, and sensations into one continuous scene. This helps the world feel smooth rather than broken into separate flashes. Consciousness blends many tiny events into a flowing present. Even vision depends on this blending. The eyes move rapidly, yet the scene usually appears stable. The brain fills gaps, compares moments, and predicts motion. What feels immediate is already a carefully constructed experience. There may be a tiny delay between an event and conscious awareness. The nervous system needs time to receive and process signals. Still, the delay is usually too small to notice. The world feels as though it is happening directly now. Different senses process information at different speeds. The brain must align them so that one event feels unified. Light from a nearby object reaches the eyes almost instantly. Sound moves more slowly through air. At a distance, lightning is seen before thunder is heard. The event occurs once, but your senses receive it at different times. Nearby sounds and images are easier for the brain to combine. It adjusts for small delays automatically. This quiet adjustment happens throughout every waking day. The mind keeps the present organized without asking you to calculate anything. As sleep approaches, that organization can loosen. A sound may become an image. A thought may become a place. the ordinary order of time may begin to bend. One memory can lead gently into another without explanation. You do not need to notice the exact moment this begins. Sleep often arrives without announcing itself. The last waking thought may simply become the first piece of a dream. Outside, clocks continue dividing the night. Inside, awareness can become softer and less precise. Minutes no longer need names. Hours no longer need boundaries. The body can rest inside its ancient rhythms. The earth can continue its slow turning, and time can move quietly forward without needing anything from you. Time behaves differently on every world. A day is simply the time a planet takes to complete one rotation. A year is the time required to travel once around its star. Because planets rotate in orbit at different speeds, their days and years can be very unlike our own. Mars has a day only slightly longer than an Earth day. Scientists call a Martian day a sol. A sol lasts about 24 hours and 39 minutes. This familiar rhythm makes Mars feel strangely close to Earth. Teams operating Mars rovers sometimes live on Martian time. Their workdays shift later by about 40 minutes each Earth day. For a few weeks, breakfast may arrive in the afternoon. Night work may slowly become morning work. The human body finds this schedule difficult because it prefers a cycle near 24 hours. Even a small daily difference gradually moves sleep into unfamiliar hours. Mars has seasons as well. Its axis is tilted in a way that creates spring, summer, autumn, and winter. But a Martian year is almost twice as long as an Earth year. Its seasons, therefore, last much longer. Because Mars follows a more stretched orbit, its seasons are not equal in length. Some pass more slowly than others. The southern summer is shorter and warmer. The northern summer is longer and generally cooler. On Venus, time is much stranger. Venus rotates extremely slowly. One complete rotation takes longer than its journey around the Sun. This means a Venusian day is longer than a Venusian year. The planet completes an orbit before it finishes turning once. Venus also rotates in the opposite direction from most planets. If you could see through its thick clouds, the Sun would appear to rise in the west. Its surface is hidden beneath an atmosphere of carbon dioxide and clouds of sulfuric acid. Daylight there would be dim and orange, yet the passage of time would not feel slow to a visitor. A heartbeat would still feel like a heartbeat. Only the movement of the sky would reveal the unusual planetary rhythm. Mercury has another curious pattern. It rotates 3 times for every 2 orbits around the Sun. A sunrise on Mercury would be separated from the next sunrise by about 176 Earth days. The Sun could appear to slow, stop, and briefly move backward in the sky. This happens because Mercury's orbital motion and rotation interact. The landscape would remain intensely bright for many weeks. Then darkness would continue for another long stretch. Jupiter turns much more quickly. Despite being the largest planet, it completes one rotation in about 10 hours. This rapid spin makes Jupiter slightly wider around its equator. It also helps drive powerful bands of wind through the atmosphere. A day on Jupiter passes quickly, but its year lasts almost 12 Earth years. Saturn has a similarly short day and a much longer year. Its seasons each continue for more than 7 Earth years. A gentle autumn on Saturn would last longer than an entire childhood season on Earth. Uranus is tilted almost completely onto its side. As it travels around the Sun, one pole can face sunlight for decades. A season on Uranus lasts about 21 Earth years. Long daylight gradually becomes long darkness. Neptune takes about 165 Earth years to complete an orbit. Since its discovery, it has completed only one full journey around the Sun. These distant planets remind us that hours and years are local measurements. They are created by motion, not by a universal calendar. Even the word day can mean several different things. A solar day measures the sun's return to the same position in the sky. A sidereal day measures Earth's rotation relative to distant stars. The sidereal day is about 4 minutes shorter than the ordinary solar day. Earth moves along its orbit while it rotates, so it must turn slightly farther for the sun to return. Astronomers often use sidereal time when observing the night sky. A certain star appears near the same position about 4 minutes earlier each night, across several months. This small daily difference changes the constellations visible in the evening. Winter stars gradually disappear into twilight. Other constellations rise earlier and take their place. The sky becomes a slowly changing clock face. Its hands are stars, planets, and the turning Earth. Some stars are especially useful as clocks. Pulsars are dense remnants left behind after certain massive stars collapse. They rotate rapidly and send beams of radiation through space. When a beam points toward Earth, telescopes detect a pulse. Some pulsars flash hundreds of times each second. Their timing can be extraordinarily stable. Over long periods, certain pulsars rival the regularity of atomic clocks. Astronomers watch for tiny changes in these pulses. A small delay can reveal motion, gravity, or unseen objects. Pulsars in pairs help test theories of gravity. Their signals record how the two objects move around one another. Some pulsars suddenly speed up slightly. These events are called glitches. A glitch may occur when material inside the neutron star shifts. Even an object that acts like a cosmic clock can change. Stars also keep time through their life cycles. A star's mass strongly influences how long it lives. Small stars use their fuel slowly and can shine for immense periods. Massive stars burn far more rapidly. They may live only a few million years before reaching a dramatic ending. The sun is about halfway through its main period of life. It has been shining for roughly 4.5 billion years. Its brightness has changed gradually. The young sun was dimmer than it is today. Far in the future, the sun will expand into a red giant. Its outer layers will grow wider while its core changes. Eventually, the sun will release much of its outer material. The remaining core will become a white dwarf. A white dwarf no longer produces energy through ordinary stellar fusion. It slowly cools through enormous stretches of time. There is no need to follow the sun that far tonight. Its present light remains steady and familiar. The future of a star unfolds on scales far beyond a human lifetime. For us, the sun rises with comforting regularity. Light can also preserve a moment. A photograph captures light arriving during a brief interval. It records how a scene appeared while the shutter was open. Early photographs required long exposures. A person might need to remain still for many seconds or even several minutes. Moving objects could disappear from the final image. A busy street might look strangely empty if people passed too quickly. Buildings remained because they stayed in place. Clouds might blur into pale streaks. Photography changed how people remembered time. A face could remain visible long after the moment had passed. Later cameras captured shorter and shorter intervals. Fast shutters could freeze wings, falling water, and sudden expressions. Slow motion photography reveals movements too quick for ordinary vision. A hummingbird's wings become separate, graceful motions. A drop of water can rise into a delicate crown. A balloon can change shape before breaking apart. Time-lapse photography moves in the opposite direction. It combines images taken across long intervals. A flower opens in seconds. Shadows race across a landscape. Stars draw curved paths through the sky. A glacier appears to flow like a slow river. Neither slow motion nor time-lapse changes the event itself. They change the speed at which we are allowed to observe it. These techniques reveal that human vision experiences only a narrow range of temporal detail. Many events happen too quickly for us to separate. Others happen too slowly for us to notice. A plant may seem still, yet its leaves turn gradually toward light. A mountain may seem permanent, yet weather slowly reshapes its surface. Cameras can bring these hidden speeds into view. Computers divide time into even smaller intervals. A processor coordinates tasks through rapid electronic cycles. Billions of operations may occur during a single second. To a person, a computer response may feel immediate. Inside the machine, countless time steps have already taken place. Digital devices also keep records called timestamps. These mark when a file was created, changed, sent, or received. A message may travel across oceans in a fraction of a second. Servers compare clocks to keep events in the correct order. This can be surprisingly difficult. Networks contain delays, and no signal arrives everywhere at exactly the same moment. Computers use synchronization systems to keep their clocks close together. They make small corrections without disturbing ordinary use. When clocks disagree, the order of events can become uncertain. A reply might appear to have been sent before the original message. For this reason, modern systems often treat time as both a measurement and a problem of coordination. Human records face the same challenge. Ancient texts may mention rulers, eclipses, floods, or harvests without using modern dates. Historians compare many clues to build a timeline. Coins, inscriptions, pottery, and tree rings can help place events in order. An astronomical event may provide an especially useful anchor. A recorded eclipse can sometimes be matched with calculations of the past sky. This helps connect an old description with a specific date. Archaeologists also use layers of soil and objects. A coin beneath a building can show that the structure was built later than the coin. A style of pottery may appear during one period and disappear during another. Thousands of small discoveries gradually create a chronology. Human history is not one smooth record. Many voices were never written down, and many documents were lost. Fire, water, decay, and conflict have erased countless details. What survives is only part of what once happened. Yet even fragments can carry a sense of presence. A fingerprint pressed into ancient clay may remain visible. A footprint can preserve the direction someone walked. A repaired bowl can reveal that an object was valued. A worn step can show where many feet passed over time. These traces make the past feel close without making it complete. Language also carries time. Many languages change verbs to show whether something happened before, is happening now, or may happen later. Other languages rely more on context, additional words, or the order of events. The way a language describes time can shape attention, but it does not trap people inside one way of thinking. Every human mind can remember, anticipate, and notice change. Language simply provides different tools for expressing these experiences. We often imagine the future as being ahead and the past behind. Yet not every culture uses the same spatial picture. Some expressions place the known past in front because it can be seen. The unknown future may be described as behind because it remains hidden. Both images make sense in their own way. Time has no visible direction in the room. We borrow directions from space to help describe it. We say a deadline is approaching. We leave an old year behind. We look forward to something. We return to a memory. These phrases turn time into a landscape that the mind can travel through. Tonight, you do not need to travel very far. The distant planets can continue rotating. Pulsars can continue sending their quiet signals across space. Cameras can preserve moments, and computers can count their rapid cycles. The stars can keep their ancient time. The earth can turn beneath the dark sky. Your only rhythm can be the gentle rise and fall of breathing. There's no need to know how many minutes have passed. The night is carrying them for you. The future feels open because it has not yet become memory. Many possible events can still unfold, while the past appears fixed behind us. This difference gives daily life a strong sense of direction. Physics describes this direction in several ways. One of the most important involves the spreading of energy. A warm cup placed in a cool room gradually loses heat. The surrounding air becomes slightly warmer as the cup becomes cooler. The energy has not vanished. It has simply become more widely distributed. The reverse process is not impossible in every mathematical sense. Yet it is extraordinarily unlikely for scattered energy to gather itself back into one cup. This tendency helps explain why time seems to move from order toward greater disorder. It also helps distinguish earlier states from later ones. A clean room can gradually become untidy through ordinary activity. An untidy room does not usually organize itself without effort. Many arrangements can look disordered, while only a few look carefully organized. Nature tends to move toward the more numerous possibilities. This is connected to entropy, though entropy is more subtle than simple messiness. It describes how many microscopic arrangements can produce the same larger appearance. A glass of water may look still. Inside it, countless molecules continue moving and colliding. There are many ways for those molecules to share energy evenly. There are far fewer ways for all the warmth to gather into one corner. The arrow of time emerges partly from this difference. The future tends to contain more widely distributed energy than the past. Memory also depends on irreversible changes. The brain must alter connections in order to preserve an experience. A photograph requires light to change a sensor or chemical surface. A footprint requires pressure to rearrange sand or soil. Records of the past are physical changes left behind by earlier events. They exist because time has moved in one broad direction. We do not find memories of tomorrow because tomorrow has left no physical trace. The future has not yet interacted with the present. This may sound obvious, but it reveals something important. Remembering is part of the physics of time. Every memory requires energy, matter, and change. Even a quiet thought has a physical history inside the brain. The mind does not store every moment equally. Emotion, attention, repetition, and sleep influence what remains. A familiar routine may leave only a faint impression. An unusual sound or unexpected meeting may become much clearer. This selective memory shapes the personal past. Two people can share an event while remembering very different details. Neither memory needs to be completely false. Each mind noticed different parts of the same moment. Over time, memories can change slightly. New experiences may alter how older events are understood. The remembered past is therefore stable in some ways and flexible in others. The event is gone, but its meaning can continue evolving. There is no need to examine your own memories tonight. They can remain quiet and undisturbed. The brain also spends much of its time predicting. When you see a ball moving, the mind estimates where it will go next. This allows the body to react before every detail is consciously processed. When someone begins a familiar sentence, you may anticipate the final words. When music establishes a rhythm, you expect another beat. Prediction helps experience feel smooth. The brain is always comparing what arrives with what it expected. A surprising event creates a larger difference between prediction and reality. Attention quickly turns toward the unexpected change. During calm repetition, prediction becomes easier. Familiar sounds can fade gently into the background. This is one reason steady rain can feel soothing. Each drop is different, yet the overall pattern remains predictable. Ocean waves create a similar balance. They repeat without becoming completely identical. The mind does not need to solve the sound. It can recognize the pattern and release its attention. A quiet voice can work in the same way. The words continue, but nothing sudden demands a response. You can let the next few ideas arrive without following them closely. The story will continue softly in the background. Some animals predict time through environmental cycles. Bees can learn when flowers are likely to provide nectar. They may return near the same time on following days. Birds can learn the timing of regular food sources. Their behavior adjusts to both natural rhythms and repeated human activity. Certain marine animals anticipate the tides. They become active before the water reaches a particular level. These creatures are not reading clock faces. Their nervous systems are responding to repeating patterns. Humans also learn time through routine. The body may become sleepy before usual bedtime. A familiar morning alarm can sometimes become unnecessary. The brain may begin preparing to wake shortly before it sounds. This ability is not perfectly reliable. Still, it shows how deeply expectation can influence biological timing. Time can also be estimated through movement. Walking across a room gives the brain information about distance and duration. Repeated actions create an internal sense of pace. Athletes learn the timing of jumps, turns, and throws. Dancers learn where movement should fall within music. These skills depend on tiny corrections. Muscles, balance, vision, and hearing must work together. The cerebellum plays an important role in this coordination. It helps refine the timing and accuracy of movement. The basal ganglia also contribute to timing and rhythm. Different brain systems seem to handle different ranges of duration. Very brief intervals may depend on fast sensory processing. Longer intervals involve attention, memory, and expectation. There may be no single clock inside the brain. Instead, time is built from several interacting systems. This helps explain why duration feels so flexible. The brain is not simply reading a hidden stopwatch. It is constructing time from change, attention, emotion, and memory. The present moment is also more complex than it seems. Signals from the feet, hands, ears, and eyes arrive at different speeds. The brain combines them into one coherent experience. A touch on the foot requires more travel through nerves than a touch on the face. Yet both can still feel almost immediate. The nervous system adjusts for many of these differences. It creates a stable present from information that did not arrive together. The moment you experience is therefore slightly assembled. It is not a single perfect point. Some researchers describe a brief window within which events are grouped together. Inside that window, separate signals can feel simultaneous. This window changes depending on attention and context. Music, speech, and movement all rely on such grouping. A melody would make little sense if every note remained isolated. The brain must hold recent sounds long enough to connect them. Language depends on the same ability. Meaning unfolds across time rather than appearing all at once. The beginning of a sentence remains available while the final words arrive. Memory quietly holds the pieces together. A scientific explanation, a song, and a bedtime story all depend on this temporary bridge. The mind carries earlier moments into the present. As sleep approaches, that bridge may become softer. A sentence can lead into an image, and an image can become a dream. The order may become less important. The mind begins moving through association rather than careful logic. Time and dreams can fold around memory. A childhood room may appear beside a place visited years later. People from different periods can meet without surprise. The dreaming brain does not always preserve ordinary chronology. It creates scenes from emotional and remembered fragments. A dream may begin in one decade and end in another. The shift can happen without a journey between them. This does not mean the brain has escaped time. It means the sleeping mind organizes time differently. While you dream, real seconds continue passing. The body remains within the rhythms of breathing, temperature, and sleep cycles. The dream follows another kind of sequence. Its moments are connected by meaning more than by clocks. Stories often use time in similar ways. A novel can move across decades in a single sentence. A film can show years passing through a few changing images. Human imagination can compress or expand duration. It allows us to experience long histories within a short evening. A few pages can carry a character from childhood into old age. A single scene can linger over one important minute. These changes do not confuse us because the mind understands narrative time. It follows meaning rather than continuous measurement. History is also shaped into stories. Centuries are divided into periods, eras, and ages. These boundaries help organize information, but nature did not experience a sudden line between them. One age gradually became another. The end of an empire was not one moment for every person. Language, trade, farming, and daily life continued through the transition. Large historical labels simplify countless individual days. Each day still contained meals, weather, work, conversation, and sleep. Even during famous events, many people were living ordinary moments. Someone repaired clothing, carried water, or watched evening light. This can make the past feel gentler and more human. History was not made only from battles and rulers. It was also made from quiet routines repeated across generations. Most of time has always been filled with ordinary life. People in ancient cities waited for friends. They became tired at night and woke to familiar morning sounds. They watched children grow and seasons change. They wondered about the future, just as people do now. Their clocks and calendars were different, but the feeling of waiting may have been familiar. A long afternoon still felt long. A peaceful night may still have seemed too short. Memory probably carried certain years more clearly than others. Across history, human beings have always lived inside small personal windows of time. The immense centuries existed only one day at a time. The future will unfold in the same way. Years that seem distant will eventually arrive through ordinary mornings. Great changes will be made from many quiet moments. No one experiences an entire century at once. Time always arrives in small portions. Even the universe changes moment by moment. Stars slowly transform hydrogen into heavier elements. Galaxies move, collide, and reshape themselves across enormous ages. Some galaxies merge without most stars ever touching. The distances between individual stars are usually too large. Their shapes change through gravity over millions of years. Long streams of stars may stretch across the darkness. Black holes can grow by gathering matter and merging with other black holes. These events can send ripples through space-time. Those ripples are called gravitational waves. They travel outward at the speed of light. When they reach Earth, they change distances by an extremely tiny amount. Sensitive instruments can detect this faint motion. The signal may come from objects that merged billions of years ago. The final moments of that event can arrive here long afterward. In this way, the universe carries old changes forward. Space itself becomes the messenger. Light does the same. So do particles, waves, and moving matter. Every signal connects one time with another. The past reaches the present through something that has traveled. Your eyes receive old light. Your ears receive vibrations that began a moment earlier. Even the warmth of a blanket reflects energy exchanged through time. Experience is always connected to what happened just before. You do not need to follow those connections any further. The present can become simpler now. There is the quiet weight of your body. There is the slow movement of breath. The next moment does not need to be predicted. The previous one does not need to be remembered. Time can continue without your attention. The night already knows how to move forward, and while the world keeps changing softly, you can drift closer to sleep. Some moments are far shorter than anything the senses can notice. A blink lasts only a fraction of a second. During that brief darkness, the brain helps preserve a continuous picture of the world. A camera shutter can open and close much faster. It can capture movements that normally appear as a blur. Scientists use even shorter flashes of light to study atoms and molecules. These flashes may last only trillionths of a second. Within such tiny intervals, chemical bonds can begin to form or break. Matter changes through steps too fast for ordinary vision. A femtosecond is 1/millionth of 1/billionth of a second. Light travels only a small fraction of a millimeter during that time. Even this is not the shortest interval studied by physics. Attosecond pulses allow researchers to observe the motion of electrons. An attosecond is 1/billionth of a billionth of a second. The number is difficult to imagine, yet instruments can work within it. The human mind does not need to feel these intervals directly. Mathematics and careful experiments allow us to explore them. Very short time is hidden inside everything. Light moves from a screen to your eyes. Electrical signals travel through circuits and nerves. Molecules vibrate, electrons shift, and atoms exchange energy. The quiet appearance of the world rests upon rapid activity. At larger scales, some natural events are also surprisingly fast. Lightning heats the surrounding air almost instantly. The sudden expansion creates the sound that later reaches us as thunder. A hummingbird adjusts its wings many times each second. A dragonfly changes direction before the eye can follow every motion. The brain combines these rapid changes into smooth movement. It does not present each separate instant. Film creates motion through a similar effect. A sequence of still images appears continuous when shown quickly enough. The images remain separate, but perception connects them. Time between frames becomes almost invisible. Early films sometimes appear unusually fast today. Many were recorded at slower frame rates and later shown at different speeds. The people were not truly moving with hurried, unnatural steps. The recording and playback rhythms simply did not match. Sound recordings also preserve timing. A needle moving through a record groove follows tiny variations in its surface. Those variations are transformed back into vibrations in the air. A voice from many decades ago can enter a room again. The original moment has passed, yet its pattern remains. Digital recordings store sound as measured samples. A computer records the changing air pressure many thousands of times each second. When played back, these measurements recreate a continuous wave closely enough for the ear to recognize music and speech. The recording is not the original event. It is a carefully preserved description of change through time. Every song depends on both sound and silence. A note has meaning partly because it begins, continues, and ends. A pause can create calm, expectation, or completion. Silence is not outside music. It is one of the ways music shapes time. Bedtime also contains small silences. There may be a pause between distant sounds. There may be a quiet space after one thought before another begins. You do not need to fill those spaces. They can remain empty and restful. Some scientific experiments continue for years or even generations. Researchers may observe forests, rivers, or animal populations across decades. Long records reveal patterns that short studies cannot show. A tree may respond slowly to changes in rainfall. A lake may warm gradually over many seasons. The value of these observations comes partly from patience. Each measurement becomes more meaningful when connected with those before and after it. Some experiments were started by scientists who knew they might never see the final result. The pitch drop experiment began with a material that looks solid but flows extremely slowly. Individual drops take many years to form and fall. Most of the time, the material appears completely still. Its motion becomes visible only through a very long record. The experiment is a gentle reminder that solid and liquid are not always simple categories. The timescale of observation can change what we notice. Other long-term projects study the aging of materials. Paint, paper, metal, glass, and stone all change gradually. Sunlight may fade color. Air can react with surfaces. Moisture moves through tiny cracks. Repeated temperature changes make materials expand and contract. Museums control light, humidity, and temperature to slow these processes. Preservation is partly the art of managing time. Even carefully protected objects continue changing. The goal is rarely to stop time completely. Instead, conservators try to make change slower and more predictable. They help fragile objects survive for future generations. Libraries face a similar challenge. Paper can become brittle. Ink can fade and bindings can weaken. Digital information also requires care. Storage devices fail and file formats can become obsolete. A document preserved on an old disk may still exist physically, but become difficult to read. Future access depends on maintaining both the data and the tools. Information does not remain available simply because it was once recorded. It must be copied, translated, repaired, and remembered. Human beings create archives because memory alone is limited. We place letters, photographs, maps, and recordings into protected spaces. An archive is an attempt to carry selected moments forward. It cannot preserve everything, so choices must be made. Those choices shape how the future understands the past. What is saved may become visible, while what is lost may become silent. Time capsules make this intention especially clear. People place ordinary objects inside containers and seal them for later discovery. Newspapers, coins, messages, and photographs are common choices. The objects may seem unremarkable when buried. Their meaning grows as the surrounding world changes. A simple ticket, package, or handwritten note can become a record of daily life. Familiar things slowly become historical evidence. Some time capsules are meant to remain closed for decades. Others are planned for centuries. Their success depends on materials, moisture, temperature, and whether anyone remembers where they were placed. A capsule can survive perfectly and still remain undiscovered. Preservation requires both physical protection and a chain of knowledge. Messages designed for distant futures face another problem. Language itself changes. Words shift in meaning. Writing systems evolve, and cultural references disappear. A message may remain readable, but lose its context. Scientists and designers sometimes consider how to warn future people about dangerous sites. The message may need to survive far longer than modern languages. Symbols that seem obvious today may not remain obvious. Even warnings depend on shared understanding. This creates a strange conversation across time. The present tries to imagine minds living thousands of years later. They may have different technologies, societies, and assumptions. Yet they may still recognize fear, curiosity, and the desire for safety. Some human projects are intentionally designed for long durations. The long now clock is intended to encourage thinking across thousands of years. Its purpose is not only accurate timekeeping, but also a broader sense of responsibility. A clock that moves slowly invites a different kind of attention. It asks people to imagine futures beyond their own lifetime. Cathedrals, observatories, and forests have also been created by people who knew others would complete the work. Planting a tree can be an act of trust in time. The planter may never sit beneath its largest branches. Still, the work has meaning. Many natural systems depend on this kind of delayed result. A forest grows from countless seeds, most of which will never become mature trees. Soil forms through weathering, decay, roots, and microorganisms. A thin layer can take a very long time to develop. Peatlands accumulate slowly as plant material gathers faster than it fully decomposes. Over centuries, deep layers can form. Coral reefs also grow through repeated small additions. Tiny organisms build structures that may later support entire ecosystems. Large forms often emerge from small actions repeated over time. Mountains, reefs, languages, and cities all carry this pattern. No single moment creates them. Their shape is the result of accumulation. Habits work in a similar way. A repeated action may feel insignificant on one day. Over months, it can change skill, memory, or strength. The brain adapts through practice. Connections become more efficient as certain patterns are used again. Learning often feels slow because improvement is uneven. Progress may remain hidden before becoming noticeable. Sleep plays a role in this process. Rest helps stabilize some forms of learning and memory. The quiet hours after practice are not empty. The brain continues adjusting what was experienced. You do not need to practice anything now. Sleep itself is enough. Long spans of time can also change the meaning of familiar objects. Glass in old windows sometimes appears thicker near the bottom. This is usually related to historical manufacturing and installation, not glass flowing noticeably over centuries. At ordinary temperatures, window glass behaves as a solid. Its movement is far too slow to explain the uneven shape. This is an example of how stories about time can sound convincing while still being inaccurate. Science often improves by testing familiar explanations. The same is true for diamonds. A diamond is not simply compressed coal. Most natural diamonds form deep within Earth under high pressure and temperature. Many are far older than the plants that later became coal. They can remain hidden underground for billions of years. Volcanic activity carries them upward through rare eruptions. A small crystal may complete a very long journey before reaching the surface. Gold atoms have an even older history. Many heavy elements were created in extreme cosmic events before the solar system formed. They later became part of the cloud that formed Earth. A gold ring may contain atoms older than the planet itself. Their history began inside ancient stars or stellar collisions. The atoms did not age in the way living things age. They simply moved through different places and forms. Matter is continually reused. The oxygen you breathe may have passed through plants, oceans, animals, and the atmosphere many times. Water molecules move through clouds, rivers, soil, ice, and living cells. Their exact paths are usually impossible to trace. Some water on Earth is extremely ancient. Its molecules have been broken apart and rebuilt repeatedly throughout planetary history. The body is therefore connected with deep time through ordinary matter. Its atoms have belonged to many earlier systems. This does not make the present less personal. It simply places each life within a much larger exchange. For a while, the atoms gather into a breathing body. They form thoughts, memories, warmth, and movement. Later, nature will rearrange them again. There is no urgency in this idea. Matter has always been changing form. The night air moves through the room. Warmth passes slowly between surfaces. The Earth carries everything forward around the Sun. The solar system moves through the galaxy. Every scale of time continues at once. Electrons change in unimaginably small intervals. Forests grow across generations. Stars shine for billions of years. A breath rises and falls within a few quiet seconds. You do not need to choose which clock to follow. Let the smallest intervals disappear beneath awareness. Let the longest ages remain far away. This moment can be simple. The words may continue, but you no longer need to keep them in order. They can settle softly and fade. Time will keep every rhythm moving. Your body can release the task of watching, and the night can become quieter, one unnoticed moment at a time. Different creatures experience the passing world through very different nervous systems. A small insect may detect changes too rapid for human vision. Movements that seem smooth to us may appear more clearly divided to it. Flies can react quickly to an approaching hand because their visual systems process rapid changes efficiently. This does not necessarily mean time feels slower to them. It means their brains gather and respond to information on a different scale. Large animals often move through slower physical rhythms. Their hearts may beat more slowly, and their gestures may unfold with greater weight. Across species, body size, metabolism, temperature, and nervous system structure all influence biological timing. A hummingbird burns energy quickly and has a rapid heartbeat. A large tortoise lives at a very different pace. Neither animal possesses a better relationship with time. Each is adapted to the needs of its own body. Some animals can estimate brief intervals with surprising accuracy. A bird waiting for food may learn how long a delay usually lasts. A dog may recognize patterns in a household routine. Animals do not need words such as minute or hour. Repetition, hunger, light, and movement can provide enough information. They may notice that one sound usually follows another. They may learn that a person returns after a familiar sequence of events. Scent can also act as a kind of clock. Odors gradually weaken and change as molecules disperse through the air. An animal with a sensitive nose may gather information from these changes. A fading scent may suggest that another animal passed earlier. The landscape can hold traces of recent time. Snow preserves footprints for a while. Mud records movement until rain or sunlight changes the surface. Spiderwebs collect dew in the morning and dry later in the day. Flowers release stronger scents during certain hours. Nature is filled with temporary records. Some last only seconds. Others remain for centuries. A wave removes footprints from a beach. A glacier can preserve ancient air beneath layers of ice. The duration of a record depends on the material and its surroundings. Time erases some traces while protecting others. Desert conditions can preserve cloth, wood, and skin for long periods. Wet environments usually encourage faster decay, yet waterlogged ground can sometimes protect objects by limiting oxygen. Ancient boats and wooden structures have survived beneath mud. Cold can slow chemical and biological change. Frozen ground has preserved hair, food, and soft tissue from long extinct animals. Preservation is rarely perfect. Even frozen remains slowly changed through pressure, radiation, and chemistry. The past does not remain untouched. It continues interacting with the present. Archaeologists study these changes carefully. The condition of an object can reveal how it was buried and what happened afterward. Pollen trapped in soil can show which plants once grew nearby. Tiny seeds may reveal what people gathered or cultivated. Charcoal can mark an old fire. Animal bones can preserve signs of cooking, tools, or weather. A place that now feels empty may once have been filled with ordinary activity. Someone may have sat near the fire. Someone may have repaired a tool as evening arrived. Science can often recover pieces of those moments, though never every sound or thought. The remaining uncertainty is part of the distance between times. We reconstruct the past from evidence. We cannot return to it as observers. Even written accounts are incomplete. A person describes what they noticed, understood, or wished others to believe. Dates can appear exact, while the experience itself remains uncertain. We may know when a letter was written without knowing the writer's tone. Time provides order, but not complete understanding. The same is true when we study the future. Astronomers can calculate eclipses many years in advance. The movements of large objects often follow predictable paths. A future eclipse can be described with remarkable accuracy. Its shadow will cross certain regions at particular times. Yet the weather on that day may remain uncertain. Clouds can hide an event whose celestial timing is perfectly known. Prediction becomes harder when many interacting parts are involved. The movement of two isolated objects can be simple. A busy atmosphere contains countless changing currents. This is why long-term weather forecasts are limited. Tiny differences in starting conditions can grow into larger differences later. The future is not always unknowable. It simply contains different levels of predictability. The next sunrise is highly reliable. The shape of every cloud is not. A pendulum can be predictable for a while. Over longer periods, friction and small disturbances change its motion. A clock remains useful because it controls those disturbances. It creates a protected rhythm. Scientific instruments often depend on isolation. Vibrations, temperature changes, and air pressure can affect delicate measurements. Laboratories reduce these influences as much as possible. Some clocks are cooled to extremely low temperatures. Slower atomic motion can make certain measurements more precise. Other clocks use lasers to observe atoms. Their regular transitions provide a stable reference. Optical atomic clocks may eventually improve timekeeping beyond current cesium standards. They use frequencies much higher than ordinary microwave-based clocks. Counting faster, regular cycles allows finer measurement. It is similar to using a ruler with smaller markings. Such clocks can detect tiny differences caused by height. A clock raised slightly farther from Earth runs a little faster because gravity is weaker there. Modern instruments can measure this effect across surprisingly small distances. This creates the possibility of using clocks to study Earth itself. Changes in gravitational strength can reveal differences in elevation and underground structure. Timekeeping becomes a way of mapping the planet. A clock is no longer only a device for schedules. It becomes a sensor for gravity. The connection between gravity and time also affects distant starlight. When light climbs away from a strong gravitational field, its wavelength can become longer. This is called gravitational redshift. The effect has been measured on Earth and observed in astronomy. Light carries information about the gravity it has passed through. Near dense stars, the shift can be stronger. Near black holes, space-time becomes far more deeply curved. Black holes are often described as places where time stops. This description is useful only from certain viewpoints. A distant observer sees signals from a falling object become slower and fainter. The light takes longer to escape and becomes increasingly red. The following traveler experiences their own seconds normally. Local time continues along their path. Relativity does not provide one universal view that every observer shares. It connects many valid measurements through consistent rules. The universe allows clocks to disagree without becoming chaotic. This is difficult to imagine because everyday clocks remain very close together. Human life usually occurs within weak gravity and modest speeds. Still, every clock follows its own route through space-time. No two paths are perfectly identical. The differences around us are usually unimaginably small. They do not disturb ordinary mornings or quiet nights. Your bedside clock and your heartbeat may measure time differently, but both remain useful. One divides the night into numbers. The other reflects the changing needs of the body. A clock may tick evenly while the heart speeds during a dream. Later, both may return to calmer rhythms. The body is not designed to imitate a machine. Its timing responds to life. Breathing slows during rest. Temperature falls and rises. Sleep stages cycle through the night. Each system adjusts without requiring conscious control. If your thoughts have become less clear, that is perfectly natural. Attention often loosens as sleep approaches. Words may pass without leaving a memory. You may notice the sound of a sentence more than its meaning. There is no need to return and search for what was missed. The story can keep moving softly. Stars also pass through different rhythms of activity. Some stars brighten and dim in regular patterns. These are known as variable stars. The changing brightness may come from pulsation, rotation, or one star passing in front of another. Certain pulsating stars expand and contract. Their outer layers move in repeating cycles. Their brightness changes because their size and temperature change. The star becomes a visible cosmic rhythm. Some variable stars help astronomers measure distance. Their rate of pulsation is connected with their true brightness. By comparing true brightness with observed brightness, scientists can estimate how far away the star is. These stars act like markers across the galaxy. Their repeated changes help map enormous distances. Binary stars create other celestial clocks. Two stars orbit a shared center of mass. If their orbit is aligned with Earth, one may regularly pass in front of the other. The combined light becomes dimmer at predictable intervals. Each dip marks another part of the orbit. Planets can create similar dips when they cross in front of distant stars. Astronomers use these events to discover worlds. A planet may reveal itself, not through direct light, but through timing. The star dims slightly, then brightens again. After a regular interval, the pattern returns. Small changes in the schedule can suggest additional planets. Their gravity gently pulls on one another and alters the timing. An unseen world can be discovered because another world arrives a little early or late. Time becomes evidence for something hidden. Moons have also been found through careful timing and motion. Rings, dust, and companion stars can leave patterns in light. The universe is full of clocks, but few resemble the clock on a wall. An orbit is a clock. A pulse is a clock. A repeating shadow, vibration, or change in brightness can become a clock when someone learns how to count it. Even decay can measure time. Unstable particles may exist for only tiny fractions of a second. Others remain unchanged for billions of years. The The universe contains lifetimes across almost every imaginable scale. Some particles disappear before crossing a microscopic distance. Yet high speed and relativity can allow them to travel farther than expected from Earth's viewpoint. Particles called muons are created high in the atmosphere. At rest, they decay quickly. Because they move close to the speed of light, time passes differently along their path. Many reach Earth's surface before decaying. This is another everyday confirmation of relativity. Invisible particles arrive because moving clocks do not match stationary ones. The effect happens far above sleeping cities. Throughout the day and night, cosmic rays strike the atmosphere. New particles appear and vanish. The sky may look still, but rapid processes continue above it. At the other extreme, some stars may shine for trillions of years. Small red dwarf stars use their fuel very slowly. They are cooler and dimmer than the sun. The universe is not yet old enough for any of the smallest red dwarfs to have completed their full natural lives. Everyone ever formed is still young compared with its possible future. Far ahead, star formation may become less common. Existing stars will gradually fade. White dwarfs will cool. Galaxies will become darker. These possibilities belong to a future so distant that ordinary numbers lose their emotional meaning. There is no need to picture that darkness as lonely. It is simply a scientific description of change across unimaginable time. The universe today remains filled with stars, planets, clouds, and light. This is the era in which you happen to be resting. The Earth is warm enough for oceans. The atmosphere carries sound. A quiet room can exist beneath a sky of ancient stars. Time brought the universe to this moment through countless changes. Yet you do not need to carry the weight of that history. You are allowed to notice only the softness of the present. The future of the stars can remain far away. The ancient past can remain behind the horizon. This night asks for nothing complicated. The clock may continue counting. The planets may continue their patient orbits. Your breathing can become quieter. Your thoughts can become less complete, and each passing moment can carry you gently deeper into rest. As we come toward the quiet end of this journey, time may already feel a little less solid. The hours are still passing somewhere beyond your attention. Clocks continue their careful counting, but you no longer need to count with them. Across the world, mornings are beginning while other places settle into night. Lights appear in distant windows, and others slowly disappear. The Earth continues turning beneath every sleeping room. It does not hurry, and it does not pause. The moon follows its patient path. The planets continue their long journeys around the sun. Far beyond them, stars move through lifetimes too large for us to notice. Their light crosses the darkness without effort. Some of that light began traveling before human beings had names for the stars. Tonight, it arrives quietly above the Earth. Nothing asks you to understand the whole universe. Nothing asks you to remember every fact. You have already followed enough. Time can return to being something gentle in the background. It can move without needing to be watched. A second passes, but it does not need a name. Another follows, and then another. There's no sharp edge between them. They flow together like small waves reaching a quiet shore. Your body has its own way of knowing the night. Breathing becomes slower when it is ready. Muscles release their tension little by little. The heart continues its familiar rhythm. It has carried you through every moment of this day. You do not need to guide it. You do not need to guide sleep either. Sleep is not a task that must be completed. It is a gradual change that the body already understands. Perhaps you are still hearing every word. Perhaps some sentences are beginning to disappear before they finish. Both are perfectly fine. You can listen without remembering. You can rest without trying to reach a particular state. The past day can become quieter now. Its conversations have ended. Its small decisions have already been made. Anything unfinished can remain unfinished until another time. The night does not require a solution. Tomorrow is still beyond the horizon. It does not need your attention yet. It will arrive slowly, carried by the turning earth. Morning knows how to find its way without being imagined in advance. For now, there is only this gentle darkness. The room remains around you. The surface beneath you continues to hold your weight. Air moves softly in and out. The body becomes heavier as the mind becomes lighter. Thoughts may still appear. They may be fragments of plans, memories, faces, or places. You do not need to push them away. Let each thought pass at its own pace. A thought can arrive and remain for a moment. Then it can fade without being completed. There is no need to follow it into another hour. Time has carried rivers through stone. It has opened flowers and worn mountains into softer shapes. It has moved continents, cooled ancient rocks, and carried starlight across the universe. It can carry these thoughts away as well. Nothing needs to be held tightly. The clocks of atoms can continue their perfect rhythm. The clocks of planets can remain gently imperfect. The tides can rise and fall. Trees can add another narrow layer beneath their bark. Seeds can wait in the darkness of the soil. Animals can rest inside their hidden shelters. Across the ocean, creatures move through deep water without seeing the sky. Above them, waves continue beneath the moon. In forests, branches become still. Leaves move only when the night air reaches them. In deserts, sand cools beneath the stars. In mountains, old snow rests quietly against the stone. Everywhere, time continues through different rhythms. Some are quick enough to vanish before they can be noticed. Others are so slow that they appear completely still. Your breathing belongs to the gentle rhythms. There is an inhale. There is a quiet turning point. Then the breath leaves again. You do not need to make it deeper or slower. Simply allow the body to choose. The next breath will come when it is ready. The boundary between waking and sleep may already be growing thin. You may notice a distant image that does not belong to the room. A place may begin forming without any effort. Perhaps it is a quiet path under a dark blue sky. Perhaps it is only a color, a shape, or a feeling. There is no need to decide what it means. Dreams do not need explanations while they are beginning. They can gather softly from unfinished thoughts. The measured world can become more distant. Minutes may continue, but they no longer need to feel separate. The night can become one wide, peaceful space. You have nowhere to arrive before you are allowed to rest. You are already here. The universe has been moving for billions of years. It will continue moving while you sleep. Stars will shine without being watched. The moon will cross the sky without being followed. The earth will complete a little more of its orbit. Morning light will slowly approach from far beyond the darkness. None of this requires your attention. Your only work now is to do less. Let the jaw soften. Let the shoulders become heavy. Let the hands rest without holding anything. The words can become quieter now. They do not need to carry more information. They can simply pass through the room. Time is still here, but it no longer feels demanding. It is not a deadline. It is not a schedule. It is only a quiet movement from one moment into another. And now, even that movement can fade from awareness. There is nothing more you need to follow. Nothing more you need to remember. The facts can drift away. The clocks can continue without you. The planets can keep turning in the darkness. The stars can keep shining far beyond the room. The night can hold everything that remains unfinished. Your thoughts can become softer. Your breathing can become quieter. The next moment can arrive without being noticed. And the moment after that can disappear just as gently. There's nowhere else you need to be. There's nothing else you need to do. Time will keep moving softly in the background, and you can simply sleep.